Hello and welcome to the latest edition of Aberystwyth Town in Conversation With. We've got a very special guest this evening because he's joining us from the other side of the world. It's Martyn Griffiths. Griff, how's things?
How are you going, Paul? Very good. Nice to speak to you. It's been a long time.
It has, yeah, too long, mate, too long. So we're doing this at 8 p.m. UK time. Bit of a daft question to start us off, but what's the time in Australia at the moment?
It's 7 a.m. in the morning.
7 a.m. So you're up early. You're up early for us today.
Oh no! Look, I'm usually a 6 a.m. start now. Like I say, with Jamie, he's always up early, and yeah, I've just said we just acquired a new dog as well, and that's a 5:45 start. So it's like having a second child. So yeah, it's not too early. I'm up, showered, all good, ready to go.
Have you got a day's work ahead of you as well after this?
Yeah. Funny enough, still in the sort of trade I was back in Aber, same as Figa. So it's a printing and embroidery place. Still managing one of those places, and yeah, more promotional items as well we do over here. So yeah, it's a 9-5 day for me today.
Brilliant. And have you been in lockdown in Australia over the last few months, or how's the situation been over there?
Look, we've been very fortunate over here. I think much better than the UK. So like when it first started in February, we sort of like closed the borders very quickly along with New Zealand. So like that was it, bang, no one was allowed to come in. So it's been very, very good over here. And since that early lockdown for a few months, we gradually got out of it. So we haven't had any second wave over here, touch wood. There was a bit of a crisis down in Melbourne, but then they sort of like closed the border. So like with England, Wales, over here it's states, New South Wales and Victoria. So Victoria, they shut down pretty quick as well and sort of isolated those cases. But I must say it was like sort of like living here in the Central Coast in New South Wales. It's very similar to Ceredigion. I think Ceredigion got away quite lightly in the early days. So it was the same here in the Central Coast. There wasn't many cases, but I think Australia's managed it very well, and more or less we're nearly out of all restrictions now.
Good. Glad to hear it. So we'll start off as we always do with these interviews, and we'll take you right back to the start. So what are your earliest memories of football and your earliest influences?
Yeah, so coming through the Aber Junior system, really, even from a young age, 11 and 12, we were sort of like coming through the Aber Junior League, and there was like a rep team then, and we would go over to Sambrier. We had a link with Sambrier junior football, and we would go over there and stay with families, and we would play in over there. And I remember lodging with Martin Griffiths and playing games over in France in Sambrier, and that was obviously
fantastic.
And that was great as a junior footballer. But then, yeah, coming through then, it was going to play with the Aber Reserves and the Aber Town youth system. We had a very decent side then, and we were managed by Di Whitney. So Di Whitney and Di Pugh, which are Aber legends, they were our managers and coaches. So, but then we would train with the first team as well. Sometimes with the reserves, you training with the likes of Donald Kane, Kenny Wills, Dave Humphreys, Tommy Morgan, Mike Davis. That only helped your game.
Yeah, some legendary names in there.
Yeah, and then obviously Appy was the manager back then. So he was a big influence on my career and life, really. He actually gave me a job at Aberystwyth Sports and said he'd only give me a job. Yeah, so he gave me a job there working with his son Gary. And like I say, he was a father figure to me. And he said, you'd only give me a job there if I played for Aber Town, obviously. So, yeah, but I was there for the next 20 years. So working with him.
That sounds like a win-win situation as well, the job and the football together. How could you say?
It was great when you won on a Monday morning, but we'd lost, so they hate going to work on a Monday morning, and oh God, we have it all again on Monday morning. So, Chris, you should have done this, you should have done that, you should have done this. But yeah, so Appy was a big influence on me there as well. So So that was that, the ABBA reserves, and then sort of like ABBA first team, and then we was coming up to the start of the League of Wales then. But I don't really know. It might be as bad as Sean. Well, I'm not as bad as Sean James, but I don't really remember my first ABBA Town game. But I think it was before the League of Wales when Appy was in charge. But I actually played half a season or a season in goal.
Wow, okay, I wasn't expecting that.
I know, but the team, like either Will Evans got injured or something like that, and someone had to step up. And I think, so I had half a season in goal. We actually won the Mid Wales Youth Cup, so I was in goal. And I vaguely remember. I'm not sure if Aki called me up for one game. I think it was down in Llandod to play in goal for the first team. So yeah.
So your debut for Aberystwyth Town could well have been in goal.
It could well have been in goal, yeah. And there was another occasion as well. Then they were playing then in the Welsh League just before the Welsh Prem was formed, and they had a big game down. I think it was Llanelli, and then they had a couple of injuries, and Appy was trying to find me on a Friday night, and I'm sure I was in the squash club having a couple of beers. I think I was only like.
I was going to say, were you in the beer?
Yeah, he came straight to me for me, and he said, "I need you in the first team tomorrow." And I was sat in the coach. I hadn't had many beers, but I was sat in the corner. I was only like 17 or 18 or something like that. And then I remember Donald Kane coming up to me and he said, "Griff, you started." I'm like, "What do you mean I'm started?" And I think Donald remembers that my face, I just went green. But I played that game and it actually got abandoned with the weather after about half an hour. But I can't remember the fixture and what it was. So I can't remember that. But my memory's not as bad as Sean James is. At least I'm 50. And like I said, all he remembers is wagon wheels.
Yeah, absolutely. What a great memory, though, eh? The wagon wheels, superb.
Yeah, that corner shop though, it was like that's where everyone ran to. Right, Sweets first, football second. So
I remember I was saying to Sean yesterday that it was sort of on the corner, wasn't it, of the stand that's the open air stand now.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, great place. But like even as in the youth days, we used to follow the first grade team, and they had big Mid Wales derbies as well. And I never remember the time going up to Llanidloes in the Mid Wales Cup final and supporting ABBA. And there was even then a couple of 52-seaters going up.
Wow.
Yeah, watching ABBA against Newtown at Llanidloes, and that was my first experience of crowd trouble.
Okay.
So, yeah, the Newtown supporters and ABBA supporters sort of like met head on in Llanidloes. And there was a picture in the Camera News of a Newtown fan holding a sort of like a pitchfork. So, yeah, in crowd trouble at Llanidloes in a local game. So yeah, but they were great days, you know what I mean? And yeah, following the first team, the likes of Donald Kane, Tommy Morgan, and those guys. Yeah, that was great. And then the League of Wales formed.
Yeah. Well, you've mentioned Llanidloes there, and you had a bit of a spell playing there as well.
So I was like in my early 20s then, and Tommy Morgan was manager of ABBA then, and I think he had a bit of a budget then, so I think he started bringing in a few South Walian players. And I was on the fringe. I don't think I was getting in. I was with the Resis, and I even went off for a spell at Penryn. I had a year there, a great year, and a lot of the old boys went there, like Kenny Wills and Jock Kane went there, and Freddie was just starting, Gary Lewis, Will Evans in goal. We had Lee Jenkins, Paul Murray, Paul Evans. We had a great side. So we went there. I went there for a season, and yeah, the great season there, and scored 20 odd goals, I think, from midfield. And
fantastic.
Yeah. But with those players around you, we just had to get in the box, and they were fine. But so that sort of season propelled me as well. And then Appy got the job at Untitled. And yeah, so I wasn't getting a sniffer at Aber with Tommy there to begin with. And Appy took myself and Stuart Kinnereth to to Clanny. And
so you didn't have to play in goal there then?
No. Well, no, Stewie's playing out then. Another one who's played in goal for Aber and out for Aber.
Yeah.
And yes, Stewie actually scored against Chelsea when we played Chelsea in the friendly. So, and he's a Chelsea fan.
Similar to the Sean James Liverpool story that we were talking about last night.
100%. Yeah. So so he's playing out then, but we had, fair dues to Appy, he's kept it very local. He kept local players in, he gave local players a chance, and he gave all the Clanny local players a chance as well. And then, but we were struggling in that first season in the League of Wales. We were down the bottom, and we found it tough. And then I think Appy tried to bring a few more players. I think even Di Blair came up from Aber, and Russell Richards, who was a local striker, came up, and Martyn Griffiths, I think, had to go up there as well. But then he brought in a couple of players from South Wales. Hewitt brothers, Wayne Hewitt and Brett Hewitt from Cumbraen. Right. So they were decent players. And he got Andrew Mainwaring from Cardiff City, and he was a young player who was on Cardiff's books.
Yeah, another one who played for Cumbraen Town as well.
That's it, yeah.
Good player.
So he came in, and those players gave us a boost, and we actually went on a bit of a run. I thought we might get out of relegation here. But we played down in Ebervale. Remember Ebervale one night, and we were doing all right. And Andy Mainwaring was causing them havoc again. I thought, yeah, we're on track here for 3 points. And I remember this. I remember Stevie Williams, who was played at the back for Ebervale. Nasty guy, and he's gone boom straight into Andrew Mainwaring's jaw and broke his jaw all the way down there. And the game had stopped, and he went straight off to hospital. But I didn't play again that season. I've been trying to find out where he is, but where's Mainwaring these days, and no one knows where he is. It'd be nice to find out where he is these days. But
the last game I can remember seeing Andy Mainwaring play, he actually scored an overhead kick for Cumbraen against Aberystwyth in 2005. Yeah,
great guy, lovely guy, mellow guy, but and he could play. Yeah. So, but we lost him for the run in the last few games, and then we just fell short and got relegated by maybe 4 points or something like that. So it was sad for the club, but we give it a good go, and it's good for a village club to start, play the first season of the League of Wales, but it just wasn't to be. So that was Untitled Town, but I had a half decent season there, and Tommy was still at Aber, and then I had a few good games against Aber that year, and then sort of asked me to go back the following season.
So it was an immediate return for the start of the 93-94 season?
That was it, 93. So, I went back to Aber then that year, and so that was my spell of the next 7 or 8 years at Aber Town. But like you say, a lot then, I think, Tommy left after a couple of years. We were always sort of mid-table, mid-table, lower part of the table for those early 90s when I was playing there. And then I think Tommy left, and they brought Appy back in.
Okay. Yeah. So that must have been a boost for you as well.
Yes, yeah. And like you say, Appy gives the locals a good shot. So we had a very local team there, likes of Theo Hughes and Peter Griffiths and Tappins and these worlds. We're all given their chances, and Di Blair was back, and so Yammer and Beep were all there, and it started along with Morrison and Freddie coming. So it started to be another local side. So
and a good side as well, by the sounds.
Yeah, good side. And then Happy would just bring his few contacts in, of pro clubs he had, and the likes of then bringing Gavin Allen in from Tranmere, and Ryan Nichols from Cardiff, who were Aber legends and great players. So it was like a seven-year spell for me then. So like at Aber, and went on to captain the side for a few years. So that was a proud moment as well.
What were the highlights of that initial first 7-year spell then? Obviously, we'll want to talk about the Floriana game in '99 at some point, but aside from that, what was the major highlights?
Major highlights of that is just representing your town. Do you know what I mean? And that's and captaining your hometown. There's no better feeling. But like with all the locals around playing as well, it was great. We had 500-600 people coming down to watch the game, or they were local boys. People would come down and watch, so that was good. And the highlight of that, I think, for me, and one of my major disappointments as well, I think it was something like the 1996-97 season. We made the Welsh Cup semi-final against Cwmbran Town again at Llanelli, at that ground. So I was captain of the day. Proud moment walking out there. The game was televised. And just started to be televised. So that game was televised, and we had 2 or 3 buses going down there as well.
Brilliant.
And I think Mark Hazelwood was in the side there. He was playing centre back. So and we had a good local side. Gav was there, and Ryan Nichols. Paddy, Gary Lewis. All great players. And I really thought we had a chance, but I think we just froze on the day. And Cwmbran, brilliant side there with Sean Morton, and I was always up against Sean, and he again was tough player. He was like great in the air, solid, and you always know you're in a battle when you play against Sean Morton. But they turned us over 2-0. And I've got to say that was one of my disappointments with Aber not just reaching that as Welsh Cup final as a captain and player.
Although we'll come on to it later, and obviously you did get to the Welsh Cup final eventually in 2009 as assistant manager, but we'll save that for later in the interview. So let's fast forward a bit to 1999 and the club's first European adventure against Floriana. So talk us through how you got to Europe in the first place, and that whole experience of playing in the UEFA Cup.
Obviously that was one of my best moments in football. We'd had a great season, and I think Happy was in charge again that season. So like for 3/4 of the way through, we were in a great position. We were 4th or 5th. We were doing well, but we had a bit of a slump in results. And the committee thought that it was time to bring a new manager for the run-in. Big call, big decision.
Brave.
Happy was gutted, and they bought in Barry Powell. And he got us it. So at the end of the day, was it the correct decision? Yes. You know what I mean? Because we got there. Everyone was shocked that Happy got the sack, but could you have got to say? You don't know. In hindsight, it was the correct decision. And then, Barry came in, and we made a push for the last 4 games. And again, we finished 4th, but I think we had to wait on the result of the Welsh Cup final of it. We made it. And I think that Welsh Cup final, I can't remember who was playing, but it went to extra time, I think, as well. And I think Carmarthen lost against someone. But then anyway, we qualified through that route.
Would it be Barry Town around that time?
Yeah, it could have been Barry beat Carmarthen in the Welsh Cup final, and then we got through that route. So we qualified as the 4th team in the league on that first European adventure.
And it was, I got it wrong there, didn't I? It wasn't the UEFA Cup, it was the Intertoto Cup.
Yeah, the old UEFA Cup now, isn't it? It was the old Intertoto Cup, right?
Yes, yeah.
So, strange one for me, because halfway through that season, I booked a trip to Australia. Booked a trip to Australia to see my sister. My sister was living over here, pre-booked. And then we qualified for Europe. So I've looked at my ticket and I've gone, right, I'm leaving that date. I'm coming back after we've had the fixture. And I'm coming back on the eve of the game. So, yeah, so I only went for 2 weeks. And I remember it was 1999 when Man United won the Champions League, when they scored those.
Solskjaer.
So I remember, yeah, when Solskjaer scored the winner. So the night before that, I was out in Albert Town. The euphoria of that, because for my sins, I'm a Man United fan. So, so watching that game and having a big night and then jumping on the plane in the morning to go to Australia. So, so I knew about the game, and I was fit back then. Not now, but I was fit back then. But over in Australia, I kept myself fit. You know, I'd go running in the mornings on the beach, and I felt fit, keeping in touch with Barry Powell. I said, yeah, I'm coming back this date and that date. So I was back on the Friday night, but the game was on the Saturday.
Right.
Yeah, so I felt fit, I felt confident, but I think we met for breakfast on the Saturday morning as a team. And then I met with Barry Powell, sat down with Barry Powell, and he goes, Griff, you just had a 24-hour journey, and I don't think you're going to be up for the game. And I was part of the squad, but never got on, and sort of like I'm not sure if I got kitted out even for that first game. So I was totally gutted. I thought I was fit. But yeah, to get back and just wasn't included in that first game was a bit upsetting, but here we are.
And then go on. I was going to say, did you have the opportunity to play in the return leg?
Yeah, that was it. Well, I was back in training then. We trained all week. Back in the squad. Trained very well, and then we was on the plane and over to Malta. So we had a couple of sessions over there, and I was training well, and I thought, perhaps I'm going to get a start in the away leg. And then so we trained, and then the team was announced, and there was a guy, Chris Hammond, that Barry Powell had brought in, and he was in my position. So he was a young 18-year-old. I was 29, 30, something like that. So I had the experience. But Chrissy had played quite well in the first leg as well, and he just got the nod in the second leg. So I was disappointed over there. But yeah, so we drew the first leg 2-2 at home.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're in a good position, and then we went out to Malta, and I think they even went 2-0 up, I think, over in Malta. But then I came on in about this 55-60 minute mark, and I thought I changed the game. I thought I came on and made a difference. We pulled one back. We pulled one back to I think Morrison again. And we absolutely battered them for the last 20 minutes. We were camped in their half, chance after chance. We just couldn't score that second goal.
Couldn't get the goal.
Yeah, and I was a bit of a dead ball specialist then. So my corners, used to get Kevin Morrison a lot of goals. So it's pretty good at set pieces, and they were causing them problems, and we just couldn't get that second goal to take it to extra time. I believe we would have gone on and won that if we had just got the second. And fair dues to Barry Powell. He came up to me after the game after that, and he said, "My one regret, I didn't start you." So
he admitted his mistake.
Yeah, so that was good as him as a manager.
Yeah, absolutely.
to say that, and yeah, that was great to know. But hey, as a manager, you've got to make decisions, and yeah, that's what I've learned in the last few years. You got to make these decisions which you think are correct at the time. And,
and the thing is, you're never going to please everyone as a manager either, are you?
Absolutely not. No. So yeah, great times though. But it was a great trip, a great experience, and yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, great.
Brilliant. And then a year after that that European adventure, you took the decision to leave Aberystwyth, and you moved to Caersws.
Yeah.
How did that move come about?
Paddy Powell again at the time. I was in and out of the side. I love the guy, no problem with it at all. But he just said to the committee, he said, I think Griffiths stays it over. He's getting injured a lot, and I was on the bench a lot, and I just thought I had more to give. And Mickey Evans then was manager at Caersws, and he had heard I was unsettled there. So yeah, he picked up the phone and said, would you like to come to Caersws? That phone call has made some great memories and met some great people at Caersws, and what a club. I'm so happy I went there. And yeah, great village club, great committee, great people, and had some 2 years of best time in my football, really. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I remember you did have a really, really strong side around that time as well, didn't you? Colin Reynolds just joined at centre half.
Yeah,
Colin
Reynolds, Martyn Griffiths, and Hugh Clark as our centre backs. So they were beasts of centre backs. You know what I mean? Didn't give any strikers anything. So yeah, and we had Sean Jayu and Anthony Thomas full backs. Mark Hughes played for Aber. There was myself and him in midfield as well. And then we had Graham Evans up front, Marvell as well. So yeah, great strong side. But we had a way of playing. We were solid at the back, and we were very direct. There's no shadow of doubt about that. We were a direct team. And I remember I'm a ball player, and I remember going to Caersws ground, always a bit muddy and everything, and the ball's coming there, and I pulled this ball down and tried to play a little 1-2 around the corner, and I hear this from the sideline, there's Mickey Evans, and he goes, Griff, if you ever bring the ball down in that position again, you'll be coming off and sitting next to me. And I've gone, right, okay, next ball, on into the corner, winning second balls, but we were a great team. We were good at it. Again, set pieces. We would score goals for fun with those three at the back from set pieces. But strong with it. We were a compact unit. We battled for everything. We have players who give 110% for Caersws. And that's what got us to Europe, for a village club to be in Europe.
Fantastic achievement. So
another great trip to FC Marek in Bulgaria, I think it was.
Wow. And that was in 2002, was it?
2002, yeah. So we played the away leg in Bulgaria. That was an experience as well. Going to their ground, we had a big police escort there, sirens going.
Wow.
The cop cars in front, and we were in the big 52-seater behind. And
did they have all the ultras in the stands as well?
Yeah. It was like, you're sitting in the training rooms and they're banging on the game. You're coming out and there's hostile crowd, and even their players were horrible. They were off the ball and diving and spitting, and horrible team to play against. But yeah, I think we lost over there 2-0 in the first leg. And ironically, then came back to Park Avenue for our second leg. So,
so it really was a home tie for you, the second leg.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I was on the bench for that game, but playing at Park Avenue, and yeah, playing in Europe really for Casus. But yeah, great memories. But we drew 0-0 in that game. Played well, just couldn't get that goal. And you know, these teams are solid teams, and yeah, we went out 2-0 on aggregate, I think. So that was the Casus days. Brilliant days, fond memories, great people.
And I just want to ask you one more thing about those days, because you mentioned the hostile atmosphere in Bulgaria, but there was also some hostile atmospheres in the local derbies with Newtown as well. So talk to me about those derby games.
Oh yeah, they would be hostile. The crowds from both teams and players. You know, it was the first challenge, bang! It was the first header, and we would be into it. Great derby games as well. One of my fondest memories is taking about corners. I took a corner, an in-swinging corner against Newtown at Casus Recreation Ground, and scoring direct from a corner.
Wow.
And yeah, we won that game 1-0. So yeah,
and that was that won it. Brilliant.
There's a few good ball for me that night from the committee.
Fantastic.